live.
All right. Good morning. I'm James. I'm a member of the Flow team, and I work on FCL. I'm going to be your host today. We've got a pretty good agenda today, I believe. We've got starting off with some team intros, TLDR. Jenny Ace is going to be doing a demo, and then the remaining time can be used in breakout rooms and things like that. I hope everybody's having a good day. Let's get the team intros going. Giannis, take it away.
Hi, Giannis here. I guess I'm first today. I'm a developer on the Flow virtual machine, and I'm involved with the storage fees and transaction fees. That's it for me.
Hey everyone, I'm Josh. I'm a Cadence developer on the Flow team. I'll be in the Cadence channel later answering questions.
Nice. So I'm next. My name is Kim. I'm a developer advocate for Flow. I help create and curate content to help developers onboard seamlessly.
Hey everyone, my name is Andrea. I joined recently. I'm also a developer advocate and doing exactly what Kim just said. Nice to meet you all. I'm looking forward to sticking around in Discord from here on out.
Hey, good morning, good evening. I'm Gregor, part of the developer experience team, mostly working on development tooling and currently on the REST API. The XML, have a good day.
Oh, is that it from the
Shrinjoy, Carrie, and Max.
Yeah, I can go next. My name's Kerry. I'm the engineering manager for the developer tools team. Nice to see you. And I will hand over to Max.
Hey guys, I'm Max. I'm working on different developer tools, specifically JavaScript, testing framework, and Flow. We'll be around if you have any questions.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Shrinjoy had a bit of issues, technical issues. He is a dev manager on the Flow team. All right. First up will be the TLDR from Kim. She's going to stream it, and if you're in Discord, you can right-click it and adjust the volume. Sometimes that's an issue. Take it away, Kim.
For sure. Thank you. Hey folks, welcome back to TLDR updates on Flow. My name is Kim, and I'm here to deliver all the cool updates in the Flow ecosystem. First up, get ready for the next big drop from NFT Genius. LSU forward and the son of Shaquille O'Neal, that's right, Sharif O'Neal, has signed a first-of-its-kind deal with the NFT Genius team. They will be launching his Genesis drop on Monday, December 13th at 2 p.m. Pacific time. Mark your calendars. As well, a portion of the earnings will be given to the American Heart Association. What an incredible way for him to support a cause after being diagnosed with a heart defect in 2018. As for the NFTs themselves, there are 3 tiers of scarcity, incredible utility planned for the community, and more on the way from the O'Neal family. Check it out at o'nealnfts.com. Nice. Let's talk about the next marketplace on Flow, which is coming from the Genius team. Their platform will feature iconic collectibles, whether it's 90s rappers, Bond movie actors, endangered animals, and more. One of their standout features of their platform will be the launch of their own token, which will give holders unique benefits like fee waivers, whitelisting for drops, staking rewards, and a membership with their DAO. Their Genesis drop is on December 12th, in collaboration with the World Wildlife Foundation, featuring 4 endangered animals that the WWF is working to protect and preserve. Proceeds of the sales will go directly to the WWF Philippines. Check out Genius today. Now, let's get into a couple of profile picture projects that are on the way. First, we have Flowvitar, a project that I've seen the Flow community playing around with and making sample avatars for the last few weeks. It is so cool to see so many different styles that are being shared on social media. What makes this project unique, however, is how users will be able to create their own Flowvitar as they see fit. There are so many categories and traits you can pick from, so instead of a fully random generated avatar, you can create one with your own style. They even have rarity boosters. Flowvitar packs are dropping on December 16th, and if you're ready to build your own Flowvitar, be sure you check that out. Speaking of profile picture projects, 10,000 CryptoPiggies have been caged up and are ready to break loose on Flow. This PFP project from the Royalties team is coming exclusively to Flow, so prepare accordingly. The public sale of these Pigos is December 15th, and we'll be using the Blockto wallet. There's over 121 billion possible combinations, and they have cool community rewards like random airdrops, VIP clubs, and early access to future launches. So go get ready and grab your Pigo. And onto DevX updates. First up, fresh out of FlipFest, is the Nft Metadata Standard. It is the first flip, which stands for Flow Improvement Proposal, to be reviewed and implemented for the ecosystem. Super cool, and fun fact, it was created by 3 long-standing community contributors, Bjortek, Dennis, and Brian. Be sure to say hello to them in the Discord. They're super active in there. And you could check out the pull request to check out the amazing work being done. And to wrap things up, the mainnet Spork on December 8th included a major upgrade to the Cadence storage layer. Among other things, you should see increased performance when you're interacting with storage paths that have a lot of data in them. For example, collection resources that store a lot of children resources within them. You can read the release notes for full details. And that's all for this week, folks. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you have a great weekend, and see you at the next TLDR. Bye!
Okay, thank you for the TLDR, Kim. So next we have a community demo from Genius. Dean, are you ready for that?
Yep, if you can hear me, I'm good to go.
Yeah, loud and clear. Floor's all yours.
Cool. Yeah, so let me just share my screen. So yeah, sorry, pronunciation. We the picking a name for your startup or your project is always tricky. We thought we had one that was going to be simple for everyone, but it's Genius, like genius, if anyone's wondering. So I'll just give you a bit of background and we'll jump into the product. I'm happy to answer questions. There should be Finn is a head of product, and also Rahul, our CTO, on the line as well. If we have any questions as to what's behind the scenes in terms of what you're seeing. So what we've basically built is an NFT marketplace. Our sort of focus is collectibles. Obviously, it's kind of the biggest space, growing space in NFTs right now. And it's also partly because of the access to the content type that we plan on launching. So we'll have the marketplace, and I'll also touch on our Launchpad functionality as well for brands and sports federations, and anyone who's sort of more B2B focused. Obviously built on Flow. What you'll be seeing today is the marketplace primarily, our collections. I'm going to talk a little bit about what we've kind of ambitiously bit off in building this project. We wanted to, and I think we're not necessarily the only ones, but one of the few to do a native token on Flow. And you'll see, I'll talk a bit about what that means coming up. But, part of the content side of what we have is obviously a lot of sort of access to well-known faces from, kind of sort of celebrity sports world. So that's kind of what we're going to be focused on. And then we also have this Launchpad solution, which will come out a little bit later, but won't be sort of public facing. What you'll see is, white labeled versions of what you see here today. But the idea would be we'd offer turnkey of the same version of what you're seeing that we demo here today. It would be available for brands or for sports federations, or even a large individual celebrity who's got enough content or IP rights that they wanted to monetize. But the look and feel of it, but the underpinnings would be the exact same of what we will demo here today. So just talk a little about the token, because it's not something that's that visual, but we kind of, as I said, we feel we're in a sort of, when we started building on Flow, there weren't many people doing this. There weren't a lot of answers. We've sort of figured out a lot of this stuff ourselves, but we're going to have our own native Flow token, which is actually going to be bridged, and I'll talk a bit about that as well in the last part of the demo, but bridged into the Binance Smart Chain ecosystem. And that will mean that people can, bridge we'll have a liquidity pool up there. So, and the kind of purpose of the token will obviously be for transacting on the platform. They can obviously pay in Flow as well. We'll add FUSD support further down the track, but we want to give people some benefits on our platform, like fee waivers. They'll be able to stake. They'll get whitelisted, so there'll be sort of incentives to use our token. And later on, if we get it right, the artists that we work with will be part of a governance, and the collectors will be part of a governance via a DAO that we create. So having our own token out the gate was important to us. So we're kind of in this first phase. We've done our white paper. It's up on our website. You can check it out. There's a longer version of this deck, but we're sorting our private sale for fundraise at the moment, and then we're going to be launching our first drop in the next couple of weeks. And then early next year, we'll do the public token sale and a few more features and functionality. And then later in the next year, we'll obviously do, the more advanced stuff and DAO and etc. So just thought I'd touch on that. Hopefully on the team on the call today is myself, Dean, Rahul, our CTO, and Finn, our head of product. And just some of the people that we worked with. Obviously, we're on Flow. You'll see Blockturn, you'll see MoonPay integrated throughout the demo. And obviously, we've just got some content and charity partnerships that kind of help bring this to life when we eventually start dropping our NFTs. So without any further ado, I'll just switch over to our website, which is currently not live. We're actually waiting for our smart contract to be approved on mainnet. So everything you see today is going to be against testnet. Hopefully, we're literally days away. But you'll see the sort of contents-wise, it's very much trading card style with rarities, and these are some of our upcoming drops, which you'll see into the demo, right? So we're going to pick on icons of rap today. So we've worked with an external collaborating artist in this, and I mention this because it's actually what we've built to the back end. There's quite complex workflows in terms of managing commissions and royalties, whether it's an internal artist that we have in our in-house studio, or whether it's someone we're working with and the kind of commissions from the wallets and the payouts is quite complex behind the scenes. So let's jump into what that looks like on the actual product itself. So this is our marketplace. I'll just pick on Jay-Z here. So we have two sale types, which we're supporting. Obviously, buy it now, simple buy it now, and you'll see it's priced in Flow, and then the USD equivalent's being pulled in. We can obviously, go and buy that product. There's platform fees, royalties, and seller proceeds. Hopefully this works, and that would tee up the next part. Maybe my wallet initialization has failed, but what would happen is my collection would be populated with the different NFTs I'd bought. Obviously, I'd be able to list them for sale again, and then you'll see we're already getting ready for our two-token approach here. Obviously allow standard, view your collection, view your offers you've made or offers you've received. And then back on the marketplace, we would have, just basic sort of e-commerce style functionality, right? So if I wanted to see, anything that was featured, filtering, we can combine the filtering, obviously. And I think, we just basically get down to filtering this. I'm just trying to think, we should have, if I take these filters off, we should have a product somewhere in here that is actually, so the other thing that we're not seeing here, so obviously trading history on the product is something which pulling in the data from the blockchain, but also this is a single one of one edition. We also have the ability to support one of X, so the minting at the back end happens with obviously numerous, and then you can see the one of X and also two sale types, so buy it now or what you're seeing here. We also have buy it now and auction, and same for the secondary marketplace. Everything you see here has been minted by us, primary, but obviously as people came in and bought these, they would have the ability to come back into their collection, relist them for sale, choose the sale type, choose the token type eventually as well between Flow and Genie. And as I said, different incentives, right? So if they're transacting in our native Genie token, we would waive, for example, commission fees on the sale of those, whereas we charge 3% if it's Flow. So as I said, the back end of that kind of supporting two tokens, supporting primary sales, secondary sales, auction, buy it now, fairly complex. Happy to answer any questions, but I didn't want to take too long, just to give you a visual, and hopefully if anyone's got any questions, we're happy to answer them in Q&A.
Thanks for that. Does anybody have any questions for Dean and his team? Feel free to unmute and...
Dean, just a quick question. Yep. Did you have a Blockto portion of the demo as well?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I totally forgot. I was going to pull up this just to kind of show this. Obviously, we're still on testnet here, but this is, we've been testing the, you'll see our native Genie token on Flow, supporting actually probably the other way around and more likely. So we'd be, we're ready to, we've worked with the Blockto team and this using their teleport function. I think, there's a couple other guys they're working within the Flow ecosystem as well, but this would obviously be most likely happening on their app. So we're, from a user experience perspective, this will be something that people can buy Genie on PancakeSwap or wherever it might be on the BSC version, and then teleport it across using this teleport function you see here. But it'll be in the Blockto wallet on your mobile phone. And then obviously the other part of Blockto, apart from user authentication and identity, custodial wallets, we're obviously going to also have our NFTs listed in their wallet, so you can see them like any other collectible in the collectibles section.
Nice.
Cool. I mean, if people can ping me, one-to-one, we've got a Discord. It's I can drop the link, or it's on genieace.com at the bottom of the page. But we're happy to answer questions there as well if people want to know. But behind the scenes, like I said, there's a lot of, the front end looks pretty simple, and the kind of concept, obviously, we're trying to differentiate on the way that we kind of market and bring the art to market. But there's a fair bit of complexity around workflows for payouts of commissions, royalties, and then two tokens has its own challenges. So happy to speak to anyone if they have questions about that, how we built some of that.
Question on Oracle. How do you get your price information?
Yeah, for we're storing it at the moment. All of our data for history is kind of, we're actually talking to the guys at Graphel at the moment about utilizing their service. So we'll probably, I mean, the only other price information that's coming through is just a flow to USD currency conversion. And at some point, we'll obviously have our Genie token to whatever the equivalent BNB, or we'll have to do a 2-hop conversion from Genie to BNB will be priced publicly, and then BNB to USD so that the end user sees that, but we're not using an Oracle service particularly for anything at this point.
Can I also have a question?
Yeah, go for
Yeah,
it.
go ahead.
I was wondering, what are the incentives of having Genie tokens? Can I use them to buy different cards? Can I use it to, I don't know, like, yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good question, because we're seeing folks launch tokens, and I'll just bring this up. We thought long and hard about the use cases, and I'll just pull them up there again. But we actually want people to be able to transact in our token. That's one, but of course they can transact in others. So that's not necessarily the sort of distinguishing feature. The distinguishing feature is once you hold a certain number of tokens, and we're going to have sort of what we call platform NFTs that sort of, kind of, that allow you to sort of, show that you're participating in the community. It's that combination of holding those tokens and platform NFTs that then grant you access to the whitelist, right? So if we have a drop that's oversubscribed, or we think it's going to be in demand, we'll put them on. So you'll see that little table at the bottom here is actually a probability table, and those roles that are listed down the left, it would be if, so you'll see that if you hold 25 of our platform NFTs or equivalent tokens, you would get a much higher chance of, 4 of our platform NFTs and 100,000 Genie tokens, you have a guaranteed allocation of that drop. So it's this allocation and whitelisting is the main benefit, I think, for if you're actually utilizing the platform. And then obviously there'll be staking rewards if you stake either LP or direct.
Got it. Thank you.
I have one question. Can you speak towards the royalties, and do you have did you write that in a smart contract, like sort of a set of artists that you can pay royalties to, or do you have like a more flexible solution there? I'm curious how you approach that.
Yeah, it's a good question. So it's a combination of both on contract and some of it's sort of logic stored in the back end. So every time we come in, so what's somewhat unique about our marketplace at the moment is that we'll be the only primary minters, right? So even if we work with an external collaborating artist or a brand or a sports, like we will be the only ones actually minting. And the reason we did that was, we may open that up at a later point, but we wanted to be, what I really don't like about the more general purpose marketplaces like OpenSea and they have their place, they do a great job, but we're not trying to be an OpenSea, we're not trying to be those platforms. So we wanted to have control over the curation of, at least on the primary sale. What that means is that from the platform's perspective, it needs to distinguish between, okay, everyone, it looks like everyone is the seller, is one seller. But what we need to do is to say, okay, once that item is sold, not only do you need to take maybe a platform fee, 3% if it's paid in flow, but you also need to be able to then pay out different royalties structures. And we actually, of course, when it's royalties, they need to live with the NFT beyond our marketplace. So if someone goes and sells this on Vive, it needs to be recordable that on the smart contract that there's 2 wallet addresses getting, X getting, let's say there's a 10% standard commission, right, on secondary sale creator commissions, typically in the industry. What perhaps if we'd worked with a collaborating artist, the agreement with them might be that, there's a 10% to them, or might be 5-5, depending on the split. And so that flexibility, that we actually built it in that we have it in our backend that some of the commissions and creator royalties can be set at the time of minting, and they live on the smart contract so that it's transferable across across the entire Flow ecosystem.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
All right. Any other questions for Gene and his team?
Hey,
Sorry, go.
hey guys, how are you? I had a quick question about the governance powers for the Flow token. Maybe I'm hopping in late here, so I apologize if this is off topic.
Are you talking about our particular token? Because I can't talk to Flow. I can only talk to our Genie token that we plan on launching.
Okay, I'm sorry. I must have mistaken the context here.
No worries. I was just saying how we're going to have a two token supported on our marketplace, but one of the purposes is transacting, but this is sort of specific to our marketplace and our community, and then we'll have governance on things like which collections do you do, which artists do you work with, do we change, do we add extra chain support. Like, I think there'll be decisions specific to our community that having a token, our native Genie token, will give us, but that's nothing to do with Flow, apart from the fact we're built on the Flow blockchain.
I can talk a little bit on the Flow governance stuff. There isn't really much to say right now on that side of things, but Dapper recently acquired Brud, which they made the Friends with Benefits DAO, and they've been pretty experimental with DAOs and things like that, and internally they'll be that's part of their focus, is figuring out what does Flow being run by a DAO look like, what does governance on Flow look like, but we're still super early in that front, so I can't give anything concrete at this point in time. We can probably so now's probably a good time for maybe breakout sessions. Continue asking questions on here, general questions about building on Flow, general kind of Flow stuff. But then there's also a Cadence breakout room, an SDK and FCL breakout room, and then some as needed ad hoc breakout rooms. Anybody have any general Flow questions? I'll actually, Albert, are you here now?
Oh man, I'm about to jump, but thanks so much for hosting, James. Really appreciate it, and hope everybody enjoys the rest of the office hours and has a great weekend.
So normally I end up in the FCL channel, but I can probably play host for the general Flow channel today. I believe Albert usually handles that. Does anybody have any general Flow questions or anything they want to talk about in terms of Flow? Anything anybody wants to show or talk about or anything like that?
Hey, Amit. So this is the first time I'm attending this office hour, so just wondering like if there is a getting started channel that will be set up today.
I don't think we have that, actually. So that might be a really good idea. Kim, I'll pass that off to you.
Yeah, currently we don't have a getting started channel, but if you are a developer, you can hop into the developer channel over there, and there's a bunch of community members who would love to help you get started building on Flow. But that is a great idea, so I think we should implement that in the future. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Dean, what do you think of going to breakout one, for example, or does breakout also apply to the demos, or?
I mean, if you want, if you feel you want to hop into like, generally like those are used for like, oh, if somebody has a really specific question and they don't want to sort of like annoy everybody else, but I'm like, they actually
Yeah.
like, they don't really get used that much. So yeah, if you have general questions, like they could also be more about Jenny Ace or anything like that, really.
I'm happy to just jump in with one genius question then. You mentioned you're not using Graphel yet, but you demoed like the market, like what you call the e-commerce view, like where you could filter and search and stuff. So you're not building that with Graphel at the minute, right? You're building
No,
it with
not at
like
the moment.
off-chain stuff. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, literally, we only found out about Graphel probably about 2 weeks ago. Otherwise, we would have loved to have used them at the gate, because they're solving a bunch of things which we've had to solve like ourselves. But yeah, I think we'll definitely kind of use their service when we go into our sort of next release.
Yeah, makes sense.
We have a quiet bunch here. Anybody doing anything cool on Flow? Or we have the team here as well if anybody has specific questions for any of the engineers, so don't be shy.
Yeah, I do have a quick question. Is there any third-party smart contract audit for Cadence that Flow team can recommend?
I believe that there is, and I believe we're not actually the only ones doing the contract reviews and deployments now. If you go through the general process, there's a form somewhere. I don't know where that is. I'm not involved with that aspect, but if you go through that, I believe there's actually a good chance it's not going to the Flow team at this point. It'll go to the third party that's doing the audit.
I see.
Yeah.
I actually wouldn't mind just jumping in on this question a bit. It's Dean again from Genius. I think there's different levels or requirements for audit, right? I mean, if you just want to audit your smart contract, like from can we deploy to mainnet, I think we've always assumed that, you guys, your team is doing it and that's fine. But I think we're certainly going through this. Anyone who's launching a token for a sale, to get on a launch pad or to get on a DEX or whatever it might be, there's a different level of auditing that needs to happen. I'm not sure where the question was coming from, but it sort of certainly prompted me to say that, there seems to be a lot of third-party auditing companies that do this obviously it's from a technical perspective, but it's for the purpose of like getting on DEXs and launchpads, which is more financial end use, which doesn't matter if you're not launching a token for sale. If you just want your contract audited to say that it works and that it follows best practices, I'm sure the Flow Dapper team can do that. But I'm interested in the answer to that question from a sort of, an accredited third party, consultancy. Are there any ones doing that on Flow specifically for what the DEXs and the launchpads ask for when you're trying to do a token sale?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I do not know the answer to that.
I can chime in.
Yeah.
Really quick, for what I know, I think we also have QuantStamp doing audits, so you can go through them directly, and they could go and audit your contract apart from the main contract approval for MeNet.
Okay. Kim, I might ping you separately just to get the name and make sure I've got the right company. But we've been looking for someone to audit our smart contract from a sort of, like I said, a DEX liquidity providing perspective. Like just having the Flow team say, "Yep, you're on mainnet." That's not going to cut it for those guys. He needs. And I've actually looked at some of the reviews of, some of the people doing on Ethereum and others. Like the report that comes out is pretty detailed. Does get pretty technical, but it's meant for like someone can come in and take this as a sort of a bill of health to say that this token doesn't have, it doesn't have vulnerabilities, or the contracts are probably the same things you look for on putting them on mainnet, but it's just for external consumption.
Yeah, no, 100%. So
Yeah, so the question actually, is the same purpose, Denny. Yeah, also like we need to follow the DevSecOps process. It's the internal review also happens, so we do need the third-party audit as well, in addition to flows. So that's the best practice. I think Flow team could potentially also kind of educate or advise the other project to do the same thing.
yeah, 100%. I'll raise internally to get that on, to make sure that there are more visible options for that sort of stuff. And if there isn't many options for that, I'll also raise to we should be helping other people that do audits get on board and get familiar with security aspects of Cadence and things like that. So there's a lot of stuff I can action from what you guys just said.
Yes.
Yeah, in the
Thank you. Yeah, we do some internal audit, so maybe we can send some report for you just as a reference, like kind of like a similar approach, quantum stamp or certificate or pack shield. They have been doing for the Solidity. We are doing for Cadence now. So yeah, once we have done, maybe I can send you the report that you can give us some comments.
Yeah, I believe we actually use QuantStamp to audit Cadence itself, like the language and how it works. So I'm guessing that's probably there's at least an understanding there from their side, but I'll make sure that that perspective is obviously needed, and we'll make sure that there's more resources for that coming up. In the meantime, generally most projects end up with some sort of helper on our side. So Albert's generally a good point of contact for that. He's not in here today, so I'm going to be raising this with him, and he'll probably he'll take that on board for sure. So yeah,
like the issue with the quantum stamp is they are not responsive. Like it's already a week. We submit a request, no email, no response so far. So I don't know what's the issue.
I will include that in my when I raise it internally. I will include that fact.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Did I hear the name of the company right? Is it QuantStamp?
QuantStamp. QuantStamp. Like a quantum stamp. Yeah. One word.
I believe Kim shared a link in the office hours tech chat. Text chat.
Cool. Thank you. I'll see. I won't hold my breath on a timely response, but it's nice to know who we should be talking to.
Yeah. Anything else?
Hey guys.
Hey.
Hey, Visa.
Hi. Yeah, so BC here. I just wanted to mention, I don't know if people have heard about Emerald City Dao. It's essentially a DAO which has the purpose of developing the future tooling for all other DAOs on the Flow ecosystem. Currently it's like founded by and led by Jacob Tucker. If anyone knows about him, he's the lead cadence developer at Decentrology. And I just wanted to mention that so Jacob, he has made a bot which is essentially enables any Flow ecosystem partner with an NFT collection or with tokens, like specialized tokens like Genie, for example, on Discord, where the bot, if if anyone are familiar with Collab Land, you essentially just do the command join, and then it will verify if you have a certain collection, like NFT collection, or a certain certain holdings of tokens. So that bot works and has been tested. Tomorrow at 7 a.m. PST, Emerald City is going to do their first town hall meeting, and if anyone is interested in like tooling for flow tools, please check out Emerald City. I can send a link in the office hours chat for those who are interested in joining tomorrow. And if you have any questions, please ask now.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of personally. I'm a big fan of everything Decentrology does, and the work Jacob's doing. They're always surprising us with incredible things. They're really that team's really all in on DAOs as well. So it's good to see that stuff. Please share the link in the office hours text chat.
Cool.
Yeah. Anybody working on anything interesting or anything? Any?
Hey everybody, this is Casey. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Brand new to blockchain and Flow for sure, so definitely a newbie here. Had a question for sorry, is it Denny or Dean? I didn't catch the pronunciation.
It's Dean. Thanks.
Dean.
Thanks for checking.
Yeah, Dean. Actually, your presentation was really good and very relevant in my learning path right now. So I'm just very curious about, you mentioned about developing the native token that you can use in your marketplace. And I'm curious, some of the decisions behind creating your own token versus using something like FUSD or Flow, kind of what went into those decisions and what have you learned in kind of creating your own token?
Yeah, that's a really, that's a bit of a rabbit hole, but I'll try and keep it brief. I mean, honestly, I'll be really frank about this. I'd known, from a technical perspective, I had no desire to create our own token. We started down the path of exploring. We'd made the commitment to Flow and the Flow blockchain because we loved everything about the ecosystem, the company. A whole bunch of kind of, I'm sure why you're here in the first place. But it was only after that we decided, well, actually, why don't we use this opportunity to also do a fundraise? And the fundraise was going to be done as a IDO, right? Then you get into the weeds of realizing that, okay, so now, doing a token on Flow is, with all due respect to Flow, like there's just some the gaps in the kind of the ecosystem with launch pads, and I know the guys at Flow are working really hard to sort of bridge that, and people like Blockto are helping, and so they'll get there eventually. But in terms of doing a native token for the purpose of a fundraise, it's really, really early. There's not the launchpad infrastructure. There's not the precedent. Frankly, I think apart from Blockto, no one I know has done a native token, and I think Starly will be the second ones that do. We'll probably be in that sort of second cohort after that. But the upside of it was it's always cool to do something that no one else has done before. And as you saw in my presentation, it does come with the other benefits as we sort of explored it is, well, you can actually build community functionality and use cases around it, right? So things like the whitelisting, so your most avid collectors and users get access to, your drops first. You can do things like, rewarding people who hold the token and with staking. And so then you've got the DAO discussion around like giving people a vote on what happens with the platform and the art that you so we started off very much from a financial perspective. We wanted to do it from a financial perspective, but if it was purely a financial decision, probably other blockchains would have been easier to launch a token on. However, we still stayed committed to Flow because of the ecosystem and the company and the brand and everything that we love about it. But certainly, functionally, technically, it's not hard to do a fungible token on Flow, but it's the sale process, the financial process of it that is still quite nascent. That's the only thing I would say.
Great, thanks so much. That's great.
Yeah, just to add to that, we there's like it's a hard place, right? So the this community in the Flow ecosystem is will end up being a lot better if it is not Dapper necessarily building those things, right? So like it can't all be us building these things, because then it just like we don't look at Flow as being like Dapper's blockchain. We think of Flow as being everybody's blockchain, and we're working very actively to open all that up. So like anything, any of those things that are like critical infrastructure that are sort of built on top of the chain, that are made and owned by Dapper and produced by Dapper and things like that are there's long-term downsides to the chain for that. There's long-term downsides to the sustainability of the chain. There's very little good other than we end up with a bunch of things right now that might help us right now but may hurt us in the long run for the long-term viability of the chain. So that being said, what we do have are resources and expertise. So if somebody in the community has an idea like that, it could be about a launch pad for fungible tokens, it could be some sort of thing inside of the community, a piece of tooling, anything that could have a very positive long-term impact on the chain, reach out to us. We have all sorts of support and things that we can help with in terms of those sorts of things. So we may not have that launch pad now, but it could also be, if you think that you want to take on that, know that you don't necessarily have to do that alone. We can help you, and maybe that's I don't know to what extent or things like that, but at least if you're interested in doing things like that, just reach out to somebody on the team. They'll get you in touch with the right people internally, and I don't know how much help or whatever, but you don't necessarily have to do it alone. But yeah, it's definitely lacking right now. So thanks for pushing through, Dean. And yeah, thanks.
No, I would say that it's not a criticism. I mean, certainly from Matt in your team has been super helpful in guiding us, and there are people starting to fill those gaps, right? So even Blockto, I don't think Blockto set out to be launching a IDO platform, but they'll probably have one by first quarter of next year, right? And then it's a case of like getting enough projects on it, and so that the liquidity is there, and people have gone down that track. But there's certainly willingness from within the Dapper team, from what I've seen, and also from the partners. Like, I completely agree with you. Not necessarily that we're expecting Dapper to build this. It's just that the ecosystem from this particular part of it, this angle on it, is going to need to mature over the next sort of 12 months.
Oh yeah, I didn't take that as in that way at all. I think it's really important to be honest with those things. It's lacking. It's still new. Everything here is still in the infancy, and the things that make this community great and the stuff that gives it so much promise is the people that are here right now, right? The people that are here at this beginning at portion of it, pushing through all these blockers that are sometimes really hard to get through. And the I'm always in awe and in amazement of the ingenuity of a lot of the people in this community and what they're producing and coming up with. In some cases with like very little to work with, and so yeah, it only gets better because of people like you and your team, and the Blockto has been a great ally in this journey too. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a question here. Name's Patrick, new to the community. Like a lot. You say, reach out. What does that really mean? Like, I've been developing something I'm coining as a play to earn generosity platform. And everything's kind of central now. I've got a core Postgres database or whatnot, but I'm wanting to kind of create this central open type of marketplace where there's certain assets that I'd like to store on the blockchain. I'm evaluating Flow, but what does that really look like to talk to someone from the team just to kind of give an overview of a project? I don't know if that's feasible or not.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that there's various levels there. So I think there's a lot of people in this Discord, as an example, that have made things on Flow. So you have actually there's people probably in this Discord that have made more things and more complicated things than even like the Dapper team, other than maybe like some of the core contracts. Some of the core contracts are pretty gnarly, but like there's definitely people in this Discord that have more experience with cadence and contracts and stuff like that than even maybe like the Top Shot team, as an example. So there's a lot of people in this community that aren't even like on the Flow team that have a great deal of experience of how to maybe structure that and are maybe already solving those same problems and thinking about those things. So as a first level, I think just generally asking in Discord questions in the general or the development channel or things like that, there's probably a great deal of resources there. If it is if you are building a product and things like that, and if you reach out to anybody that's on the Flow team, they'll be in the right hand side or anybody with a green name, essentially. They can get you in touch with what we call a solutions architect. So Albert, who's usually in here, I'm filling in for him today. He's a solutions architect. His entire job is to work with people that are building on Flow, to find solutions for them. He's like his team is a great resource of knowledge of lots of people building incredible things, right?
Yeah.
There's also we have got a couple dev advocates as well. So Kim and Andrea, they're both dev advocates. They're here in Discord literally just to help you. So if you reach out to anybody with that green name, even if they're not the right person you need to talk to, they can definitely get you in.
Okay.
Be upfront what you want, and they can make sure that you end up talking to the right person. Yeah.
Thanks for answering that, man.
That goes for everybody, not just you. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe I'll sneak in 2 quick questions.
Yeah.
The first one I had was, I'm just curious about the business model behind a lot of these NFT marketplaces, and maybe there's no, common answer to this, but so if I were to build an NFT marketplace and decide to, make a business out of it, is the business generally generating revenue by minting NFTs and then selling those initial NFTs, or do they continue to profit, say, when people are selling between each other and there's like transaction fees, or is there a common business model that people use for NFT marketplaces?
So I don't know in terms of like I think that there's two different kind of paths there that I generally see. So you kind of have your OpenSea kind of structure where you aren't really the ones minting stuff, but you are. I guess they are now, but like back in the day, OpenSea wasn't really where you minted things. OpenSea was where you sold things, and so a cut essentially goes to the market maker essentially. The market is in terms of like transaction fees essentially taking a cut of the sale. Then you also have things sort of like NBA Top Shot as an example, where the vast majority of the money that Top Shot would make, I would guess, is from first party sales. So from Top Shot to the people buying packs. And then there is if you sell Top Shot or like moments on the Top Shot marketplace, they will also get a cut of that. But if you were then to sell a Top Shot moment on, say, Vive or Blockto Bay, I don't know who's getting a cut there. I don't knowing Cadence. I don't think it's Top Shot getting that cut.
Yeah. No, that definitely answers my question though. Thanks. And then just lastly, I was just browsing Top Shot actually, and I noticed Top Shot also offers the ability like to buy just using USD. And I'm curious, is that if you buy something on their site using USD, is it kind of doing some conversion to like a Flow token and then doing the deposit, or do you have any insight on that?
Yeah, I have a lot of insight on that. Yeah. Okay. So Top Shot works in a really interesting way, and it's all like the answer to anything that's going on that's weird. Like if you look at something on Top Shot or like Dapper Wallet, and you're like, that's weird, it's usually because of some legal reason or legal constraint. Because it turns out a lot of credit card companies and money people don't like crypto stuff. So what happens is on chain, Dapper has an internal fungible token that they use for basically accounting purposes. That that token is called Duck. It's called Dapper Utility Coin, and it represents basically a 1-to-1 for Dapper credits. At the time of the transaction, when you are paying using a credit card, you are paying essentially Dapper, and then Dapper is running the transactions themselves. So if you're on the NBA Top Shot store, that Duck, the golden rule of Duck in terms of like legality for them is that the Duck never actually leaves a Dapper wallet account. It always goes back into where it came from essentially, but it creates the events and it's all like trackable and things like that. It's really interesting if you like look into it and you go find the I mean, I think that they're the majority of transactions, so they're pretty easy to find. But if you dig into those transactions, you'll see Duck. It's pretty prominent, and like you can follow it on in the block explorers, like where it's going, what events and stuff like that. And it's a really interesting path to look into. But because and it's also so when Dapper Wallet works with a third party, so there's a couple of those in the works as well. They're all when we were making Top Shot and Dapper Wallet and Flow, we were doing it all at the same time, and there was a lot of things that we learned that we're now very much doing differently going forward. One of the things that we ended up doing for future things is in some of the stuff that's coming up, you'll see that if you look at the transactions, Dapper is they're using FCL to do the credit card stuff, and what they're doing is they are replacing the account, the auth account that's paying for the thing, and they're treating like a first party purchase or a purchase as somebody pays for it and is sending the thing to somebody else, but both of those are sort of internal to them. So the funds, the Duck, come from a Dapper kind of like centralized account, are used to basically purchase the thing, and then the thing gets sent to the address of the person who bought it, essentially. And so like those accounts that where the money is coming from and where the thing is going are considered two entities, and therefore the funds of the credit card don't actually ever touch like the person who ends up with the NFT. And because of that, there's some rules in there around like KYC and stuff like that, which allows them to do the shift some things, because the money never actually touches the account. It never leaves Dapper. Yeah. I don't know. It's really complicated. That team has like so many legal hurdles to jump around with and things like that. But it is on chain. There's a fungible token. It's called Duck. It represents the Dapper credits. And what you're doing with a credit card is essentially buying Dapper credits, which are represented on chain as Duck.
Cool. Perfect. Thanks so much.
I think that's time. It's probably a mess to end that on. But thank you everybody for joining us today. And hope to see you. I think this might be the last one for the year. I think this might be the last office hour for the year. I think Kim can comment on that if that's true or not. And yeah, thanks for joining us. Have a safe couple weeks, and hope to see you, everybody, really soon.
Cool. Yeah, that is correct. We are not doing office hours till the new year. So if you do have any questions, feel free to ping them in the Discord. We're pretty active. And yeah, thanks for joining us, guys.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.